Welcome to episode 460 of the Recruitment Marketing and Sales Podcast. And today we're talking about objections and handling objections ahead of time. Now, as salespeople, as marketeer, we know that there are always going to be objections when we're having a conversation with someone. People are starting to process things in their mind. They've got all these reasons why they shouldn't do the things that you are asking them to do. And therefore, we need to have different strategies on how we handle objections. Now, obviously, when we're in a sales conversation with someone, we have different ways of questioning and giving people different examples of how our product or service can help them. And something that many people forget to do is handle objections ahead of time with your marketing content and collateral. So I'm going to give you some ideas today on things that you can do. And I think it would be really useful to do this for many of you, that when you are posting on social media, you're positioning yourself and you're also handling objections that will come from your clients and your candidates. So let's get into it. Welcome to the Recruitment Marketing and Sales Podcast. An obsessive focus on marketing and sales is the only way to accelerate your company growth. So listen in now as we share the latest strategies and techniques guaranteed to deliver you more placements and profits. Well, hi there everyone, this is Denise. Hope you and yours are well. As we continue probably a bit of a theme here around pipeline filling and selling and creating demand for your service. And something that's come up a couple of times on our Superfast Circle coaching calls is handling objections. That classic thing when you get on the end of a phone and someone says, oh, we use our own team, or you're too expensive, or we've had bad experience with recruiters in the past. And these are all classic objections that many of us get if we are a supplier and we're selling our service in that consultancy space. We get objections. Now, here's the thing. There are several ideas I'm going to share with you today on how we can minimize this and help ourselves by creating some collateral that will speak into some of the objections we have, which I'm going to get into in a second. And if you're new here, welcome. It is great to have you. We get a few thousand people listening to this every week. And if you have not visited our website, go to superfastrecruitment.co.uk/blog. And for, probably 96% of all the blogs that we have there will be at least be a full transcription or a detailed summary of what we're talking about. And I'm not going to suggest that you go and give us your name and email address at the moment, because we are in the thick of our new website design. It's all going to be tickety-boo out there in a couple of weeks' time. So I'm not going to share too much about that. What I will say, though, is if we are connected on LinkedIn, then drop me a message about content that you would like me to record. I've had several, I think people must be in a bit of a learning phase at the moment. I've had several messages from different connections on LinkedIn saying they enjoy the podcast, they're finding it particularly useful at the moment. And I've reached back out to these people and said, look, let me know what content you would like me to share. So if you haven't done that, please do that. And I can record some podcasts around sales marketing, particularly marketing about growing your business and productivity. These are all my specialist areas. And obviously mindset, which is the pivotal thing for all of us. So let's talk about objection handling. And my old sales manager, Stuart Kearney, who I have mentioned on more than one occasion, always used to say, Denise, you know you are hitting a spot when the customer starts objecting. And I've always carried that. I've always carried that belief with me that, if people are objecting, then they are considering using my service. So that is something to kick off this podcast with. But before we jump into some of the things to consider doing when it comes to handling objections, it's just to think a little bit about the psychology of objections. And we've all done it. We've all thought, oh, I want to buy this. Oh, no, I won't buy that. Or, well, this service isn't quite right. And, I didn't like the way that they spoke to me. I didn't like the way that they picked up the phone and answered my inquiry. Or I think they're too expensive, or I don't think they've got the right expertise. Back in the day, a specific training course I went on, I think it might have been ranked Xerox, and they looked at objection handlers, and it's a little bit old school and it's still relevant, I think, today, is there's like perceived drawbacks as an objection. So there's a perceived drawback about your experience in the market, the way that you do things, and then there's a misunderstanding where people aren't clear on you, who you are, and how you can help them. And a couple of weeks ago, we shared a video, actually, which is on YouTube, and it's also on our website, on how to stand out on social media. And we shared several categories of content to actually use. And this all really leads into what we're talking about here when it comes to objection handling, because one of the key things that will really help you, and I'm going to share some of the classic sort of objections that people have, because often they're at a deeper level, is about your ability to do the job. It's your positioning. And it's interesting because we're about to get some new photographs done for the website. It's been a while. We had a bizarre experience. The last time we got new photographs done was literally the week before COVID hit. Now, I know you're going to tell me off, that's a long time. Obviously, we take photographs all the time with a smartphone, can do that. These were a lot more sort of like professional images, and needed a new photographer. We've moved to a different part of Cumbria, and my beautician gave me contact details for somebody. And this individual didn't have a website. They're quite new. I always like to give people an option and an ability to maybe just give things a go. But there was also somebody else that I'd been looking at. And that individual, completely different, got on the phone, very quickly sent me an email with links to his commercial portfolio. He talked about what was our brand identity, what did we want to communicate, picked up very quickly that we were coaches, consultants, so shared some different types of imagery. And he was handling those objections, obviously, straight away in the email that he sent, because for us, that was positioning. That's what we wanted. And if you think about the reason why a lot of people have objections is they don't want to make a mistake. Though I really do like giving people a chance, we're a professional outfit. We've got a minimum amount of time. We want someone that knows what they're doing. We want someone that's positioned in the market, because a lot of people, they have this fear of making the wrong decision. And it's often the root cause of many objections. And so I'm going to come on to some of the things to consider as you're going through how to handle objections. But the other thing, of course, is when it comes to objections, the path of least resistance, can't be bothered switching supplier. If they think, well, I know this individual, they're okay. I know we don't probably get the best CVs, but, having to go through like working with somebody else. And, that status quo bias that comes up a lot, that is often why people stick in their current situation. So that's why we need to be able to explain what we do in multiple ways so that they really will consider that. Obviously, there's different personality types in the way that people communicate their objections, but we're really focused today on online. What can you do about it? And then, of course, obviously, one of the key things is the role of past experiences shape objections. We've all had that. Do you know what? That's a lesson I'm never going to use that supplier again. And there's a saying, and I can't remember where it came from, but you'll have heard it before. And it's the way you do anything is the way you do everything. And so, you get an interaction with somebody, you just think, well, that's happened. I wonder if I'm going to get that experience again working with somebody else. And of course, I think something else that is very relevant, and we're going to come on to this, is social proof. How social proof can really influence people's decision making and personal branding. It's who you are and what you do in a more personal way can minimize objections. We've had a couple of people that have come onto a call. They're looking at, what they want to do with their marketing, and they might not be ready quite yet, but we've had several people say, "Oh, I like the content that you people share online. I like your vibe. I'd like to work with you in the future." And all that has come because they have seen content that we've shared online. And so you can see that really this can make a huge difference when it comes to objections and how to handle them, particularly if you're handling them ahead of time. So there's a few things to consider as you are planning to handle your objections. Obviously, handling them on a sales call is one thing. And what if you can start to really minimize those interactions online? So you'd like drip feeding people. And it starts, first of all, with who is your market? Who is your ideal customer that you can provide a solution for? And what are the key problems that they have currently that you can alleviate for them? You can push them away. You really can be their knight in shining armor. And this is something that a lot of people forget, because if you are having a conversation with a targeted individual that you can really help and support, then it does help to minimize the objections. If you know, right, okay, this particular business owner is a particular size of company, they need a particular type of individual. We have lots of those individuals. We really understand the market. We can really help them because we've done it several times, probably several hundred times before. That makes a difference. Whereas if you do that spray and pray and it's just, well, I'll take a job from anybody, then you will get more objections just the way there is. So imagine, like for us, to give you an example, we work with solo, micro, and small SME businesses. We do not work with large corporates because we have a lot of people on our email list still who work for Hayes and Adecco and various other places. And hopefully that size of company has a marketing department who is doing the marketing things that will work for an organization of that size. Of course, yes, we could work with corporates. It's just our choice not to. So we work with smaller companies because we enjoy that. So our target list, we know our target list really well, and we know the classic objections that they might have. Number one, and that is find your ideal target avatar, and whether that be company or individual, or the ideal candidates that you can place. Because remember, objections will come from all different areas. And then think about, how do I add value to this person? What are the challenges that they have, and what are the solutions that I can provide? I just wanted to take a moment to connect with all of you amazing listeners. As you know, our podcast isn't sponsored, and we pour our hearts into bringing you quality content for every single episode. Now, if you've been enjoying the show, I'd love to connect with you on LinkedIn. You can find me at linkedin.com/Denise Oyston. That's Oyston. Just click that link. Let's connect. And also a quick reminder that sharing our podcast or giving us a shout out on social goes a long way to helping grow our community and getting the message out there to all of the small recruitment companies and staffing companies and search companies that want to do well. Your support does mean the world to us, and it helps us to continue doing what we love. So thanks for being part of the journey. Now let's get back to that show. The next thing that is really useful to do is to create a features, advantage, and benefits. Do you remember back in the day? and it works incredibly well. So what are the features of your recruitment service? What is the advantage that it gives to that individual? And of course, then what is the individual benefit for that person? Because what might happen, let's just say that you use video interviewing. There's plenty of video software out there that people can use. Interview, several of our clients use Interview, several use Odro and other platforms as well. And it might be that part of your service is that you provide video interviewing. Now, time is always an issue with lots of business owners. And if they come up with an objection of time, well, it's trying to get everyone together and we can just do it in our own way, in our own time. And we get rubbish people, all of the classic objections that you would get. Whereas if you have part of your service is video interviewing, for instance, then you can curtail a lot of the time that people spend. Now, something to consider here is this is part of your service offering, that you have video interviewing and that you can actually save people time. So it's a feature of your product, it's got advantages and it's got benefits for people. And considering how you then communicate that out to the market will make a massive difference, because people go, oh, they actually do this, or they have this type of coaching, or they have a community, or they do video interviewing. They actually have a CV or resume template that I could use. Their consultant will give me some interview coaching. They've got videos that actually help me to find out about the company that I'm going to work with. So imagine there's all of these different things that are niggles going on in people's heads. They're a type of objection that you could handle ahead of time. And many people don't consider this. So people go, oh, why would I want to be doing content? And when you think about the content that is out there, the content that you see, that will help the individual reading that content, and it's minimizing the objections. So imagine what you can do. You can do that exactly the same. So we talked about, obviously, finding the target market. We talked about features, advantages, and benefits. And it's good to have a list of what are the classic objections that we get when we're on a sales call or when we go in to do a pitch. What are the objections that we get? And then the other thing that's important is, what are the questions that we get asked when we're on a call? And sometimes people might say, how long have you been doing this? What's your experience in the market? How much time will you spend working on our role? This is really particularly important when you're talking about retained. What software do you use? Do you have candidates already on your database that would fit our role? So, you've got all of these objections or all of these questions. Imagine if you created several social media posts around this, that you got a video that you could use, blog posts that literally address their common concerns. Maybe you've got some customer success stories where they focused on, I've worked with this recruitment company in the past and didn't have a really good experience. I now work with your company, and this is the difference that's made for me. There could be sort of comparison guides where you can compare what people get with you and how you can work with them. So we have many clients that they have the contingent model, they also do retained, they have exclusive, and they share this content in emails and in their social media about how they work with people. They address people's concerns in their nurturing campaigns ahead of time, so that people will be able to look at this individual and think, right, okay, I think we do need to work with this recruitment company because this is how they work. These are the results that they can get. And if we're not connected, go and have a look at our social media. Go and have a look at both mine and Sharon's. You'll see that we share regularly, probably 2 or 3 times a week. We'll share a personal branding post with a snippet. Because when people come and work with us, and this is a hint, it's exactly the same for you. They want to know that you understand business and that you understand the challenges that they have. And personal branding posts will help you do that. We share testimonials, we share case studies, we share blog posts that add value. So you are listening to this podcast now because you're probably on our list, or you've subscribed to iTunes or YouTube or Spotify, and you want to find out more about marketing. And all the time you are listening to this positions us that for somebody like yourself, you might be thinking, do you know what? Maybe I should go and work with these individuals. Maybe I should attend one of their webinars. And so we're positioning ourselves, we're handling that objection ahead of time. We're handling the objection that, I wonder if you could really help me. Would this work for me? Because you're seeing everything that we do. And we also share, which is interesting, that we get lots of questions on sales calls, and lots of people ask us questions when we present at events. And we keep a record of all those questions. And then what we do is we create content around it. So we've got lots of images that will go out and people say, oh, well, I get stuck thinking of something to write about. And we'll share something and say, well, you don't need to be stuck, because if you work with us, this is what we can provide for you. Oh, well, I don't know what would work in my sector. That's okay. We've got you, because we have worked with multiple sectors over the last, I think it's coming to 18 years this year. So we know what works and we can point you in the right direction. So these are ways of handling those objections, handling those questions that are going on, those unconscious questions that your market has in their mind, you can answer ahead of time. So objection handling. Objection handling, obviously on a call, of course you can do that. And think about, what can I do ahead of time? I need to find out who my ideal candidate and clients are. I need to make sure that we provide the answers to the problems that they have. I need to create a features, advantage, and benefit document that I can use. I can use these in sales calls, and I can use them in my email copy. And then I need a list of key objections objections and questions that people are asking me. And then I can create some content around it. So this is Denise talking all things objections, saying bye for now, and I'll see you next time. If you enjoy this podcast and this year you are ready to take your marketing to the next level, then check out Superfast Circle. This is a unique marketing program designed specifically for recruiters and their marketeers. You get access to 2 virtual marketing directors, you get consultancy, you get your hand held through the whole process, training, consulting, and we provide content resources. So go over to superfastrecruitment.co.uk /join and check out what's available.